We're at Chanonry Point. It's blowing a hoolie, but we're here to discuss someone who is well known in these parts and ask, was he a man or a myth? Welcome to Exploring Scotland's History. The Brahan Seer, or Connu Dark Kenneth, was a person who allegedly was a seer and the predictor of the future around in the 17th century. Some believe he was fictional through the works of Alexander Mackenzie, who wrote much later about the Brahan Seer when some of the prophecies had already come to pass. Some question the Brahan Seer's actual existence. I'm going to tell you a story anyway. I'm going to break my neck already, it's great. He was thought to have come from Uig on the Isle of Lewis, and that was Seaforth land. He does appear to be much better known here on the Black Isle, but the Seaforths are involved here as well. The story goes that he prophesied through the little hole in a hagstone, and I'll show you one now. I have one. So this is a hagstone. The Brahan Seer apparently put this to his eye to predict the future. Give it a go. I'll give it a go. I predict rain. Oh look, there's the rain. Perhaps I'm a seer too. Hagstones will be found on the beach, and they're really sought after because they have healing powers, protective powers, and according to the Brahan Seer, he was predicting the future through one. His prophecies accurately predicted Culloden, the Highland clearances, the building of the Caledonian Canal, even our favourite politician, Margaret Thatcher. He also reportedly said that Scotland's Parliament would return once a man could walk from England to France without getting his feet wet. Well, the Scottish Parliament did return just shortly after the Channel Tunnel was built. He also had predictions about the Eagle Stone in Strathpeffer. I'll put a video up here now about the Eagle Stone and people's maybe superstitions that they made sure that his prediction can never come true now. So that was his life, but his death is much more interesting. We're going to head up a few hundred yards up the road and I will explain to you how the alleged Brahan Seer allegedly died. It was far too windy down at Chanonry Point, so I came up to Fortrose Cathedral. It's actually not much better, but there is a significance in finishing the Brahan story here. The seer's predicted accuracy would eventually be his demise. He was working at the time in Brahan Castle. His employer was the Earl of Seaforth. Now, the Earl of Seaforth was off on the jaunt to France, to Paris, and had left his wife behind. Lady Isabella asked the seer whether her husband was in good health. The seer became a bit cagey, didn't really want to answer that question, but she pushed and she pushed. Eventually he would say, yes, he is in absolutely fine health, but he is on his knees in front of a lady who is fairer than you. Well, as you can imagine, Lady Isabella just blew her stack, and she demanded the seer be bundled into a barrel of tar. We can see this isn't going to end well, can't we? A woman spurned. As he was dragged off to his unfortunate demise, he had one last prediction for Lady Isabella. He said, the Seaforth line will end in sorrow. He explained how the last of the Seaforths would be deaf and dumb. He would have 4 sons, but they would die young and not be able to carry on the name. In 1783, that prediction came right. Francis Humberston Mackenzie, he's buried in here. But as a child, he suffered from meningitis. He was left deaf and dumb. And he did sort of recover a wee bit of his speech. But in his later years, he rarely used the speech as he was mourning for his 4 sons who had died young. Said Lady Isabella had the Brahan Seer head first in this barrel, filled with spikes and burnt alive. And it said that he was burnt alive on the spot. I'll show you, it's actually in the middle of the Chanonry Point golf course, so I wasn't really going to risk a concussion to get really close to it. It is also said that the Earl of Seaforth himself had returned to the Black Isle on that day, and when he heard what Isabella might have been up to, he rushed so hard towards Chanonry Point that they actually killed one of his horses. He kept going to the point, but alas, he was far too late. The deed had been done and the Brahan Seer was no more. So it's up to the individual whether you want to believe in his tale, whether Alexander Mackenzie made it up, whether the Brahan Seer was real or not real. To be honest, I read this book, I've read it cover to cover. It's a fascinating book. Alexander Mackenzie has maybe made all this up. It's really good. The Brahan Seer maybe existed. That's even better. The choice is yours. Thank you for watching Exploring Scotland's History. If you enjoy it, please like, subscribe and leave a comment. I would like to thank those who have given me coffee on my coffee page. It's much appreciated. I'll leave a link to that below. Meanwhile, I'm going to find a quiet spot to read my book.